Rand Paul, Senator from Kentucky, has been censored on Facebook, right? Is it Facebook? I can't even tell these things. YouTube, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. It's too much. I actually had a conversation with him in person 2 weeks ago, Senator Paul, on Long Island. Anyway, he has said, quote, most of the masks you get over the counter don't work. They don't prevent infection. Bang, YouTube takes them off. Okay? So YouTube policy is you get a warning for the first time, and apparently Senator Paul has said this stuff in the past. Then you get a week-long suspension, which is where he is now. I think he's off for a week. And that's a first strike, and then your account will be removed for 90 days if you continue to do it. I guess it's 90 days, 90 days, 90 days, something. I can't keep track of this. But anyway, he's censored. So this is happening all over the place. Only the famous people we hear about. Let's bring in a guy who knows this world pretty well. His name is Joseph Curl, C-U-R-L, coming to us from Warrenton, Virginia. He is the editor-in-chief of a brand new service called offthepress.com. He's a former editor at the Drudge Report. He left the Drudge Report to form offthepress.com. Okay. So we'll get to Off the Press in a moment, Mr. Carl. But do you think there's a danger, and how bad a danger is the social media right now in the censorship area?
Oh, it's a huge threat for anyone who wants to know what's going on. I mean, it's, again, with Rand Paul today, but, they've been doing it nonstop throughout things. And just think about, and your viewers know this, think about the Wuhan lab and all the reports that were coming out about that. We were all wondering, where did this crazy COVID-19 come from? Both Facebook, Google, all three, and Twitter decided that you could not say that it might have come from this lab. They banned anyone. They censored them. A year later, 15 months later, suddenly we're talking about where to come from. Even Biden's on board saying, hey, maybe we should check into this. So it's a crazy world right now where even asking the question will get you banned on social media.
I think all of my audience agrees with that 100%. And if you don't, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com and tell me why. You do know, though, that there are very evil people in social media, and they're committing crimes, actually, on the internet with child,
right,
all that stuff, and the drugs and betting, gambling. I mean, it's bad. So social media has to have some policing powers, does it not?
Oh, absolutely. It has to have that. And people have to remember, too, that, this is a private enterprise. If you run a restaurant and you don't like somebody who comes in the door, you can kick them out. Twitter and Google and Facebook are all the same thing. They're private operations. If they don't like what you're doing, they can kick you off. And when you agree to their terms, you give them all of your information. You agree to abide by all these terms and conditions. So, that's why more conservative people are starting to build their own social media platforms where you can say the kind of things that you want to say without somebody else being in control. There's somebody who opposes you on the political spectrum being in control.
But in Off the Press, if somebody says something and you see that it's irresponsible or criminal, you're going to knock that out, correct?
Well, that's one of the great things at our aggregation site. We don't have comments. We're just posting stories that we find that we think are really interesting for viewers to see. So our readership can find them. And again, because of the way that things are happening in social media, you're getting conservatives having a really difficult time. That's half of America, finding the kind of content they want to read. So that's why we created Off the Press, so that you can find conservative content that's not going to get censored.
How long were you with Drudge?
I was there 4 years. And I like to tell people back in the days when Drudge was really good. I mean, Drudge really changed in the last couple of years. He went all in for Trump. Then he went all out against Trump. Then it's even weirder now. He's become sort of pro-Biden and pro-Democrats. The page is very strange. There's a lot of speculation. Maybe he sold it. Maybe he, got into a big fight with the Trump people and decided to just punish them. But the page has gotten really weird. So we're trying to give people that are looking for conservative news a new aggregation site where they can find what they're looking for.
Isn't that border on propaganda sometimes, though, by just using the right-wing stuff?
Well, absolutely. I mean, sure. I mean, we don't go really far afield. We're not using InfoWars and some other sites that get a little too far afield on things. And and we're also making sure that everything is vetted. I mean, we've got great editors there. You probably know one of the other guys, Paul Bedard from the Washington Examiner, great reporter who's been around for a million years. So we're making sure that we look through these stories, and they have to reach a certain level that before we'll post it. We're not just going to post any things randomly and willy nilly, but yeah, I mean we're going to stay away from that too. We're not. It's not. We're kind of staying away right now from the election fraud stories, which are interesting, and certainly there are questions again that should be asked, but we're not seeing a lot of proof from that, so we're not running a lot of those stories at this point. We'll keep an eye on them, and if it ever hits critical mass, we'll bring them back on.
All right, so you're trying to be fact-based at least to some extent.
Right. Absolutely. We're going to vet everything.
Back to the Drudge situation. Does he control what goes up every day?
Well, that's the question. I mean,
when you were there, did he control it?
No, when I was there, I ran the page, by myself. I did the mornings for 4 years. There was another great reporter there who's now with the Washington Times. Charlie Hurt was there. He ran the page. Drudge had some input in and out, but rarely. He kind of let us run our own thing. And then he came on for his own session, usually in the evenings, and did the page. So we kind of ran the page by ourselves when we were on.
Okay. That's a big moneymaker, Drudge, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've heard numbers anywhere from $1 to $5 million a month. I mean, when he was pulling in numbers like 35 million page views a month, that's just a huge get for an advertiser to get to something like that. So yeah, it's a huge moneymaker. We're nowhere in his league right now, but we hope to just keep plugging along and get there at some point.
Now, offthepress.com, which is your site now, are you having trouble marketing that in the corporate media?
Well, we just started about 10 days ago, so we're kind of going to wait out what happens in Washington during August. It's the dog days, and everyone's going to shut down after they get this $1 trillion boondoggle done. They're going to all go home and spend some more, or they're even better, they'll go on Codell's, and taxpayers will pay for their trips to Paris and luxurious places. But we're going to make a big onslaught in September and hope that we can really get our foot in the door at that point.
Okay. Let me know if somebody doesn't cooperate with, your marketing efforts. I don't care about editorial, it doesn't matter to me. But the reason I'm saying that is on BillO'Reilly.com, and we are extremely successful. We had a couple of outlets that used to use our stuff because we do interviews with guys like you and Mark Levin last week, and we do big stuff. And Real Clear Politics used to pick up some of my stuff, and The Hill. And those are two pretty big aggregates,
sure, yeah.
Right? Well, they both stopped because they were threatened.
Really?
And yeah, they caved 100%. And I'm not the only one.
Huh.
And that's what people don't know, is that in the social media world, there are threats delivered to almost all the agencies. You better not use this person. You better use that person.
Right.
You better say this. You better not do that. There was something about Joe Biden that came out of the Washington Post a few weeks ago where they said in that town hall, you better not be mean to him, to CNN. Better not make him look bad. Remember that? Remember that?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So in your situation, and I'm giving you a little advice based upon, because I run my own internet company and have for 4 years, if you take opinion as well as hard news, that will jazz up your viewership because people want to read, very, very well thought out opinion, not garbage, but, maybe you select a dozen people or so and you run them once in a while. And I think that would be doing a service because then people would have another outlet and they wouldn't be blackballed and they wouldn't be, the suppression of the news today, as you know, Mr. Curl, is higher than it's ever been in the United States. The suppression of facts.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So if you step into that breach, then you'll be successful.
Right. And that's the other thing. I mean, the thing that's, that you have to worry about, that everyone has to worry about is, with an internet company and with a website, you can get shadow banned or you can get sort of just, they'll throttle you. Suddenly you can't get to things. I also do some work at the Daily Wire. And if something is fact checked, that's Ben Shapiro's side. If something is fact checked there, suddenly Facebook just throttles it. So your traffic just slows to a drip, and it's like you don't know what's happened, but they just internally throttle your thing. So, and then of course with Twitter, there's shadow banning. So you don't know you're banned. Suddenly, none of your stuff is reaching anybody, and you're just in this black hole.
Yeah,
so
it's bad.
It is really frightening.
It's never happened to us. We're extremely careful about what we put out. And we don't put out any theoretical stuff, speculation. We're not in business to do that. We're straight fact-based. All right, and it's up and running now. Off the Press, one word, offthepress.com. It is a news aggregate, and I hope everybody checks it out. Joseph, best of luck to you. And if anything happens interesting, let us know. We'll put you back on, okay?
Will do.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Bill. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Fellow Americans, I am concerned about the U.S. dollar. Huge debt, as you know. Will it stay as the world's reserve currency? That's why now more than ever, I recommend you diversify with gold and silver. And the only company I recommend, and have for years, is American Hartford Gold. I trust them. I've personally done business with them. They sell physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA. And they make it very easy. So call them right now. Make sure you tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. Since I have been recommending American Hartford Gold, gold shot up more than 40%. Silver, more than 60%. So don't wait. Call them now. 866-501-5201. 866-501-5201. Or text Bill to 65532. Again, that's 866-501-5201, or text Bill to 65532. Bill O'Reilly here. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure you subscribe to the First TV YouTube page. Just hit the big red subscribe button below, and you'll get clips and highlights of my program, The No Spin News, every single day. We'll see you soon.